a wonderful evening, so please just relax and enjoy. And perhaps before we get to the deep end of matters, you know the way we do it in Africa. There's always some entertainment, and this evening we are privileged to have the Moran Maasai Ogak Maasai dancers from Gong. They have come here to show us some of the skills that they have. So without wasting much of your time, let me just ask the dancers to come and entertain us a little bit, then thereafter we can start the program. So the dancers. Begin with a speech from the Managing Director of Moran East Africa Publishers Limited, Mr. David Muita, who will talk to us a little bit more about what this launch means, and thereafter he will call upon the chairman of Moran East Africa Publishers Limited, a man fondly referred to by many as Uncle Moody, the chairman of Moran East Africa Publishers, Arthur Moody Award. Thereafter, we will have a short poem just to tell us what the evening intends to achieve. And of course, finally, we will witness the unveiling of a new company. At this point, we would like to request the Managing Director to come here on stage so that he can talk to us a little bit more about why we are here and what we intend to achieve. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Managing Director of Moran East Africa Publishers Limited, Mr. David Muita. Thank you.
Our chief guest, Professor James Orakiapi, is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education. Honorable Mude Awori, our immediate past Vice President and the Chairman of Moran Publishers, hitherto the Chairman of Macmillan Publishers, the Education Secretary, Professor Bodia, Ambassador Dr. Hukawario, who is my good author, many friends who are with us, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am indeed truly humbled that I'm standing before you to mark a historic moment in my own personal history and perhaps also in the history of the publishing industry in Kenya. Briefly, our predecessor, Macmillan Kenya, was in the business of publishing for over 40 years in Kenya. And during that time, I was privileged to serve in various ranks position of a sales rep to the position of managing director in 1990. To me, as curtains come down on Macmillan, Kenya, and we are saying Moran Publishers Limited, and I know many of you will also ask, why Moran? To us, Moran denotes courage, Moran denotes bravery, and Moran is aggressiveness. And we say we need all these three attributes for us to change the attitude of our learners and for them to be determined through education to succeed in life. Macmillan Kenya was a multinational. In spite of the name Kenya on it, we still had to wait for instructions from London to do even very simple decisions, make very simple decisions. With Moran, ladies and gentlemen, the decisions will be homemade, they will be quick, they will be tailored to the needs of our people. We will create employment at the local level. It is our intention also to make books more affordable, and we do not need to worry about double margins. I want to assure our clientele that quality of service and products will remain the same, if not better. Moran is currently exploring options of expanding into the East African region and taking advantage of the East African community. At this point, allow me to point out that in solidarity with what we are doing here, we have in our midst a colleague from Zambia, Job Lusanso. If Job, you can raise your hand so that people can acknowledge you. That gentleman flew in from Zambia yesterday to be with us today to support what we are doing. Together with him, we have Moses Mtuba from Uganda. Moses, wherever you are. Moses also flew in from Uganda to come and join us. I have been expecting Ada Marigia from Rwanda. Has he arrived yet? Ada is still stuck on the highway coming from the airport. We hope he will join us soon. And our young lady, Roslyn Oduo. Roslyn, where are you? Roslyn works in Southern Sudan. And she is with us here. And with a few reps I've mentioned like that, that is proof to you that we are ready to go into the region with a bang. Ladies and gentlemen, while doing business as Moran Publishers, we have the ability and the will to popularize our authors beyond our borders and to put them on equal footing with their counterparts in the diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, only fools who make assumptions that good things come easy. For us at Moran, it has been a very tough journey to get where we are today. I thank those who have hung around and encouraged me in the journey. At this point, allow me to single out Dr. Honorable Mude Awori, who constantly kept advising me on what to do, and when he thought I was being a bit rough, he counseled me like a father would a son. My staff, I will never forget what you did, and bearing with me when things were very rough. Mary, Steve, Jerry, the team, thank you very much. Our bookseller friends who understood even when we had an artificial shortage of some items. When you have a transition, things can go wrong. But I'm happy things didn't go very wrong, and our booksellers stayed on board with us. Thank you, Ratsmi. Thank you, Textbook Center. Thank you, all booksellers around here, including Mr. Bobo of Honest, Mr. Maskote, who is here from Nakuru, Asanteni Sana. We were determined to succeed. And it is that determination, an element of foresight, valor and serious planning, and real hard work that has yielded fruits, and we are now witnessing the launch of Moran Publishers. To our customers who have been passionately attached to Macmillan Books, or the Macmillan brand, we reassure you of our commitment to satisfy your tailor-made needs and all demands. Ladies and gentlemen, before I sign off, allow me to say maybe two things I would wish Professor Olekiapi, through Professor Olekiapi, the Ministry of Education, and the government at large, perhaps to look at. The average cost of a primary school textbook today, and I mean average cost here, is 220 Kenya shillings at lower primary. If you go to upper primary, the same will average around 280 shillings. If you go to secondary, an average book will cost between 300 and 400 Kenya shillings. Of the money that is available to students for books, many of us normally talk of 1,020, but in actual fact, it's less than 500 shillings that actually go into the purchase of textbooks per child, slightly more at secondary level. 500 shillings can only buy 2 books. So, I am one of the few who are confused when we go to schools and they say they are saturated with books. It's my take, honorable guest, that something needs to be done in inspecting schools to ensure that the allocation they get for books is properly used. But at the same time, since the first disbursement in 2003, it's now 8 years. A book has a shelf life, a maximum shelf life of 3 to 4 years. So the books that were bought in 2002, 2003 must be torn to pieces. If they are not torn, then they are not being used. And it's something that the ministry should perhaps look at. In spite of what I'm saying, the government deserves high commendation for what they have done. And the work the Ministry of Education itself has done in funding both free primary and free day secondary schools is very commendable. But in the same breath, we as publishers at the moment have experienced a few problems here and there. Currently, Webuye Paper Mills is shut. All paper to print books in Kenya, and I mean all paper to print books, is imported. And while the book is duty-free, paper attract tax. The inks that go into printing also attract tax. I think it is necessary for the Publishers Association, the Kenya Publishers Association, and the Ministry of Education to work together to petition the Treasury to waive duty on paper if we're going to make books affordable. The evaluations that were done in November last year, when the results were announced at primary level, only 2 textbooks satisfied the evaluators as regards Standard 8 Social Studies. And only 1 book satisfied the evaluators as regards Business Education Form 4, 1. And we have not had a quick recall for these submissions to avoid the chaos that can ensue, because when everybody wants the same product, we are unfortunately allowing a monopoly, and it can be very bad. I would request, honorable guests, there could be some form of intervention. All publishers who failed could have failed with conditions. We do not condone mistakes, and we do not want books with the mistakes to go to be used by our students. But we would wish that such mistakes are addressed amicably so that we can change and put the books in the market. When we shut out like this and we have a whole year, even by the time you try to come back, there will be no space. Ladies and gentlemen, politics in books does not solve problems.
Our guest of honor, the Permanent Secretary of Education, Professor Kiabi, Mr. David Muita, the MD Moran, ladies and gentlemen. To me, today is a fantastic day. It's a wonderful day. It's a day that I will cherish, because it's the birth of a new company, a local publisher, Moran. For nearly 25 years, I have agitated with David. I have agitated with the people in London to allow local participation in Macmillan. Regrettably, it just was not possible. They didn't see it. Explaining to the people in London that the participation and shareholding in Macmillan by the locals will give the locals even more incentive to make the company more profitable. They did not win what we wanted. Eventually, it has come to pass. It is indeed what I think a dream come true. A dream that David and I had. We worked on it, and today it has come to pass. I think the second point really is about the leadership of the organization, Moran. When we look at this country, where we have come from a long way. When I first joined Macmillan as a member of the board, that was 32 years back. The turnover was about 1.5 million shillings. And we worked through, I've seen members of the textbook center here. When you look at it now, with a turnover of 400 million shillings, then you want to see how has this happened. Stories that we were being told by our parents and our grandparents when we were young. When we were young. We need to strengthen the local publishing. Mr. Permanent Secretary, our educational system, which we inherited from the colonialists, was tailored on producing workers, employees, initially clerks, nurses at dispensaries, later on doctors. And we have continued with that kind of system of education. I want to plead to the Minister of Education, through you, Professor Permanent Secretary, that we start now looking at a system that will deviate a little from what it is today, so that we can produce people with initiative, so that we can produce people who will be employers or self-employees, as opposed to people who will always be employed. The world would have been very short. It would have been denied of caliber and expertise if in various places in the world there were not people who come out, use their initiative and change the world. Let us look at Bill Gates. He didn't need to complete his university. He had an urge to do something. And he did. And the world is richer. Michael Page of Google, he didn't need to complete the university. He had an urge to do something, and he changed the world. Mark Zuckerberg of the Facebook, he didn't have to. They had the urge because they profited from a system of education that does not emphasize on producing people who will simply be employees. This is what we want in this country. We have produced a lot of well-educated. We have produced clerks, we have produced managers, and it is a credit to this country that you have to travel through Africa, through Europe, Middle East to realize what education has done for Kenya. The human resource is incredible. We have our people working everywhere. A good thing. But it does not augur well for our economy and the growth. We need now people who will add, will bring out something new. I want to encourage the youths, some of the youths. There are youths who have managed to use solar to bring light in the rural areas. Those are the young people that we want to encourage. And it's only the kind of system of education that we have that we have. David has worked hard to bring about Macmillan, which today is Moran. It has been a profitable organization, and I'm sure it will continue to be profitable. For those in education here, in schools, bookshops. We want to thank you for the assistance and cooperation you are having with the table, and we hope you will continue to do so. It is now my pleasure to invite our guest of honor, Professor Lekiabi, come and speak to us when we launch Moran Publishers East Africa.
Your Excellency, Honorable Moody Warrior, former Vice President and popularly always known as Uncle Moody, and the Managing Director of Moran Publishers, Moran, and all the directors of this new company, the General Manager, all distinguished guests, my colleague, Ambassador and Dr. Uka Wario, ladies and gentlemen. I am very delighted myself to be here today during this auspicious occasion of the launch of the new brand, the Moran East Africa Publishers Limited. It is a great honor for me in the ministry to grace this ceremony as a guest of honor. I accept it with deep gratitude and humility. From the outset, I wish to acknowledge Macmillan's contribution to the Kenyan education sector in terms of provision of quality education, materials, and contributions to improvement of teaching and learning skills in our educational institutions. No doubt that this contribution has positively impacted on our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I note with gratitude that Macmillan Kenya Publishers had established itself as an institution of repute in publishing industry in this country. This rebranding ceremony to Moran East Africa Publishers Limited is a renewal, and I want to believe an rejuvenation of the same spirit of propelling educational development through publishing and sharing of information, and basically taking us to another level. It is worth noting that this venture will ensure that local content and innovation and creativity will now find its place in the publishing field. In addition, we believe that this local company will create empowerment in terms of local skills and authorship, and will enhance greater diversity of materials that is shared in the education arena. The Moran Publishers Limited to the Kenyan market. And allow me to remark about the choice of brand name, as I have already mentioned or alluded to. What an interesting choice. The name Moran is a Maasai word for a young warrior, and it underscores the close relationship of culture and heritage as part of knowledge, the knowledge capital. The choice of the name also underscores the theme of forging ahead with excellence, with the aim of conquering all challenges ahead. So David and your colleagues, please do not venture into this with timidity. You must go into this with courage, as you say, and brevity, but also really with just confidence. This initiative portrays your commitment to continue, I believe, in the same spirit as Macmillan, that of provision of quality products locally and which will find themselves in the regional and international market. I want to urge you to be relentless in this pursuit. The future of Kenya and Africa is strongly rooted in the pool of knowledge for development. Our transition to economic, social, and political development has its foundation on the knowledge growth and development of our people. So knowledge turns our raw capacities, whether human or resources, into possibilities that we can use to exploit and therefore improve the well-being of our society and our people. Creation of knowledge-based economies is the acceptable norm of the developing countries or any country in the 21st century. I always keep saying that we can no longer use 19th century tools to try and solve the 21st century problems. It just won't work. Therefore, there is no better time, in my view, than this to underscore the fact that there are many cases of illiteracy and ignorance amongst our people. Promotion of culture of knowledge acquisition through reading should therefore be our core business in education and also as a publishing industry. So we really want to urge the publishers to go out of your way and think beyond the school curriculum. I mean, we recognize that we are the biggest single market that you have, but I think it's also time that you begin to be brave and venture out to create new markets by coming up with new exciting products. In this era of globalization, developing countries must undergo paradigm shifts in all facets to run with the rest of the world. Kenya, like other developing countries, must embrace ICT in totality in all spheres of development. In the education sector, we are very well aware of this reality, and we are now on the course of introducing e-learning as part of a language in our delivery of the curriculum. And I really need to emphasize this, that as you think of the print material or publishing, books, paper, you must also think of electronic publishing, because that's where we are going. Ladies and gentlemen, I must also say that education is still the number one priority in the development strategy of this country. And we know that it is the key agent or tool for social transformation. There are a lot of activities that are underway in the education sector. And I know that there are a lot of concerns about the kind of education system we have, about whether it is equitable or whether it ensures success and whether it is producing the kind of manpower or human capital or human power that we need to realize Vision 2030 and other developmental goals. But I want to hasten to say that the education system we have is simply a product of our society. And if we now feel, as we do, that there is need for us to revisit this critical sector, then we must welcome you. And in this regard, the minister will soon, I think next week or early next month, he will be announcing a new task force that will review education in Kenya in line with the Vision 2030 and the new constitution and these new realities that we are talking about. And here is an opportunity. Here is an opportunity for all of us, whether we are publishers or educationists or leaders or just the general public, to come in and inform that process. This is the time for you to sit down and write down everything that you would like to see in our education system. Of course, like everything else, it doesn't mean that we are going to create a system that is amorphous and has everything and in the end nothing. It is still going to be very focused, it's going to be properly analyzed, and it is going to be contextualized within the reality and the socio-economic parameters of our country. We shall need the support of the private sector and all of you as we undertake this enormous task. A question came up about the quality of teachers we have. We are also looking at that, and the ministry is looking at the process of making diploma the minimum qualification for teachers. But as it is, you cannot suddenly go out there and say, if you have a certificate, we don't need you. We will transition this, and fortunately the teachers themselves are very aggressive, and many of them are already going out of the way even to pursue degree courses and going back to teach in primary schools. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to reiterate that the education sector will remain committed to collaboration with other institutions in matters of integrity, in matters of governance, in matters of advancing our education values, in matters of expansion and value addition, so that we can achieve growth in the shortest time possible. We also do recognize there are still barriers. For example, the issue of taxation on paper, although we do know that there is no taxation on textbooks. And these are issues that we can engage with the publishing industry. The publishing industry knows this, that we have been meeting with you. Even when we come to issues of prices, we sit together and we establish a price level that takes into account the economic realities that faces the market, but at the same time, the socio-economic circumstances of our learners and our country in general. Again, I wish to applaud the courage and the confidence of David and his team to come up with a local company. We will give you the support because we want you to succeed. We want you to show that local entrepreneurs can be innovative, can be creative, can be strategic. So we are going to give you all the support you need, and we are happy that you have engaged us from the very beginning, and that's why we are here today as a government to partner with you. So let me again encourage you to go forward and encourage all the others that the ministry doors are open, and whatever issues you have, we welcome you to engage with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now really my pleasure and honor to declare the Moran East African Publishers officially launched. Thank you very much. And it is declared officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our chief guest tonight. I'm here to pass a vote of thanks. Our chief guest tonight, Professor James Ole Kiapi, the chairman of Moran Publishers Board of Directors, Honorable Mudi Awori, Mr. David Moita, our managing director, and other board members, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I move a vote of thanks, I want to call upon Catherine Gaho, one of Moran Publishers Board members, to make a presentation, or to present a book donation to our chief guest. Our chief guest wants to give you a book donation to a primary school of your choice and a secondary school of your choice in appreciation of the good work that you've done for us tonight. The donation to a primary school of your choice is worth 79,000 shillings from Moran Publishers, and we have also donated a book donation to a secondary school of your choice worth 60,000. So the donation from Moran Publishers, 140,000 in appreciation of your good work tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. So on behalf of the entire Moran Publishers family, we thank you most sincerely for finding time to share with us and grace this memorable occasion. I want to say thank you to our chairman, Honorable Mudi Awori, for joining us tonight. Honorable Awori, thank you so much for your continued support and able leadership in the board. Other board members who are present with us tonight, a very big thank you. I take this opportunity to thank those firms that supported us in the supplement that was in the dailies yesterday. We are very much grateful to English Press Limited, Textbook Center, thank you so much for your support. Printwell Limited, we thank you. Laxmi Booksellers, and Autolido. Would like to appreciate our colleagues in the publishing industry Thank you so much for finding time to join us tonight. We have quite a number of booksellers who are present. We thank you. Our very able authors and advisors, our suppliers and service providers, all our friends and well-wishers, we thank you for gracing this occasion. I want to say thank you so much to all the members of the media who have taken a lot of interest in our pre-launch activities and for coming to cover this important function. Asanteni sana. We'd like to most sincerely thank Jicho4 Production for entertaining our guests tonight. You are entertained, and we thank the Jicho4 team. Our very special thanks go to the management of Lycol Agency for hosting our event and for making our stay here tonight present. We'd also like to thank our very able Master of Ceremony tonight, Tom Boyer, News Anchor Citizen TV, for a job well done. Last but not least, I take this opportunity to thank my colleagues at Moran Publishers staff. They are all in red t-shirts. And I'm so sure with your support and teamwork, we are all going to make warriors in education by sharpening the brains of Kenyans. We thank you, all our invited guests, for honoring our invitation. And truly, without your attendance, this occasion could not have taken place. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And now, continue to enjoy the rest of the evening. The cocktails can be served as Asanteni sana. Thank you.